At the Sports History Network, we're proud to introduce you to a new sponsor for our podcasts. It's Home Field Apparel, your premium collegiate apparel brand right out of Indianapolis. They've got incredibly comfortable t-shirts, plus they're officially licensed with vintage college designs. They have over 150 plus colleges available now and always adding more. Homefield digs through the archives and history of your school to find unique logos, mascots, and moments to make thoughtful designs for your school. When you shop today, new customers can get a 15% discount off their first purchase using the promo code SPORTSHISTORY at checkout. You can learn more at homefieldapparel.com.
And we'd like to welcome everybody back to the Football's Family Podcast. We got a special event. Typically, I do one show a week if I have the chance, but I got two shows this week because tomorrow, September 8th, is a big deal. And you know why it's a big deal, Zach or Zachary? You know why it's a big deal?
It's start of the NFL season, baby.
It's Thursday, and that's the day that you go out for pizza and chicken wings. Maybe that's just me. Oh, it's the start of the football season next week or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I didn't know that. It hadn't been on my lips ever since the Titans got eliminated from Super Bowl contention against the Bengals, which should never happen. But, you know, I've got a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name's Zach. I'm from the Playbook Podcast. We talk about every sorts of sports from football, basketball, baseball, all the way out to MMA. I'm glad to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no. And thank you. Thank you for being on it. So what we're going to do today, not necessarily going to be the longest podcast, but what we're going to do is Zach and I are going to talk about, and I got Dana Augusta from the historically speaking podcast. He gave me his predictions. What we're going to do is we're going to give you our predictions for the division winners, for the wild card teams, and for the Super Bowl champion. And we're probably going to give you predictions for the possible MVP this year. And this is all going to be recorded and it's going to be posted. So we can't turn back. I mean, we're going to have to stick with what we got.
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to do is let's start with probably the most gimme division in the NFL, and that is the AFC East.
The AFC East, I have the Buffalo Bills winning like everyone else does. There's the Buffalo Bills. Miami might have a shot if things fall in place for them. But other than that, Patriots took a step back, and the Jets are still Jets, Jets.
And I want to say you this, that I don't predict anybody touching the Buffalo Bills, and Dana didn't either. He picks the Buffalo Bills by a mile. I would love this. I had this problem. My dogs decide to bark at each other when they have food. I love to see somebody mess with the Bills. I just don't see that happening. And that might kind of indicate who I picked to win the Super Bowl this year, but that's just me right now. All right. So we got the Buffalo Bills, and obviously to me, they will get the 1 seed.
Yeah, I see them 1 seed, unless if something tragic happens, 1 seed or 2 seed.
I don't see them going below. They're definitely not a wild card team, in my opinion.
Oh, no.
Not a wild
They're
card.
lock in.
They're locked in. Let's go to the AFC North. Of course, you have the Super Bowl runner-up in that division, the Cincinnati Bengals. Dana picks the Baltimore Ravens to win that one. And I think if Lamar Jackson is the Lamar Jackson that we know he is, they probably do win it. But, I mean, it's hard to go against what Cincinnati is building there.
So I have it as a 2-horse race right now. I give the slight edge to the Ravens because last year we didn't see a fully healthy Ravens team all year. And they did give Cincinnati a run for their money in some games. So I believe with some improvements, them taking away Marquise Hollywood Brown is going to be a blessing in disguise because he didn't have hands. He had 4 sets of feet. I believe they edge out the Cincinnati Bengals, get that 3 to 4 seed.
So that's what, like I said, that's what Dana Augusta has. He has Baltimore being the 3rd seed. I find it hard to go against the Cincinnati Bengals because of what they did for the offensive line. I do predict them to win the North, but they're not going to be the 2nd seed. They will probably be the 3rd or 4th seed. But that doesn't mean I don't pick the Baltimore Ravens to pull in a wild card team. It's one of those two.
Yeah, that's one of the two divisions I see putting two teams in the wild card.
I don't see the AFC East putting more than one team in the playoffs. I just don't see that. I think that you're going to see Miami, New England, and New York Jets just either bottom dwell or beat each other up. But I do see the AFC North picking at least two teams to make it to the playoffs. All right, let's go over to the AFC South. Now, I have a problem with Dana's prediction here. He picks the Colts to win it. I'm over the Indianapolis Colts for one reason. Every time I watch TPS videos all the time, and they're always talking about how much better the offseason has been for the Colts than anybody else. They picked the Colts to walk on water and to start flying without wings. I have a problem with that. My Titans, and yes, I'm a homer, and I will pick the Titans to win the division this year. I think that the Titans will win the division. They will not win first overall seed. They just last year, I don't know what they lit themselves on fire. I do predict them to win the AFC East, South, I should say, probably either the second or the fourth seeds. But I probably predict the Colts to make a wild card. But what do you think?
So I myself am a Jacksonville fan, so I can't even be a homer because then I'll be delusional. I see the Colts winning this out too with Dana. Derrick Henry coming off that injury. He's getting a little bit older. Y'all just lost A.J. Brown, which was Ryan Tannehill's favorite target.
You triggered.
And y'all replace him with a Robert Woods that came off a horrific knee injury. I would love to see the Titans excel without Robert Woods. I just don't see that. I see them running Derrick Henry to the ground even further. I hate to say that, Bama fan. I love me some Derrick Henry, have him in my fantasy team. But I have it a close race, and I think Indianapolis beats them into that playoff spot.
Dana has them going 10-7, the Colts. I think 10 wins will win this division. My thing is the Colts are rolling out Matt Ryan, to me, who is a drastic improvement over Carson Wentz. Their team is loaded, but here's the thing that really gets me. It's like until you prove that you can beat the Titans consistently, to me, the Titans will, if they can split one, if they can win one out of the two games against the Colts, they'll win the division, because I don't think the Jags are going to contend and the Texans are not going to contend. I think if the Titans can win one, and all you got to do is win the division in rankings. It's not necessarily in your overall ranking, but in your win-loss in your division. That's what matters.
Yeah, and I feel like the Colts are going to get that done if they beat the Jacksonville curse too.
I would be honest, Colts fans, I'm not against the Colts. I like the Colts, but when Jacksonville beat them last year, I had to laugh a little bit out loud.
Oh, I was there at the game, and I was expecting a complete blowout. And then all of a sudden I just see Carson Wentzing. Jonathan Taylor doesn't look like he was in the game. I was like, you know what? It's good to be a Jaguars fan today.
Like Chargers too, last game of the season. Just go for the tie. That's all you had to do.
Yeah, all you had to do was just run the clock out.
Speaking of the AFC West, Dana has the Chiefs winning and being the second seed. Here's my thing about the West. This is going to be a shootout.
It's going to be a cutthroat division.
It is awful. I mean, I say awful. You're going to be beat up. You get 6 games. Well, actually, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 games. Well, you play everybody once or twice, I should say. So it'll be 6 games. You get Kansas City twice a year. Mahomes is going to light you up at least one of those games.
Oh, exactly.
And now you got Russell Wilson, you got Herbert, and you got Derek Carr. Golly.
Dude, that is a tough division to call because any of them teams could win it.
Are you surprised? And I mentioned this a couple of years ago in the interview I did. I would not be surprised if the amount of money that they're paying quarterbacks won't eventually come back to bite teams like that.
Oh, I feel like it's going to bite teams like Kansas City. It's already somewhat bit them with the loss of Tyreek Hill, who was one of the three components of their offense.
I mean, eventually, when you're paying, how much is it? $50 million a year that they're paying Patrick Mahomes. Is he worth it? Sure, he is.
Oh yeah,
but you have a salary cap that you have to keep. So that being said, I picked the Chiefs to win the West.
I'm actually picking my dark horse to win this, and that is the Oakland Raiders.
Oh.
I feel like Derek Carr is going to go back to his MVP season where before he got injured, he was throwing up MVP numbers. He has a great receiving core with Hunter Renfrow on one side, Devontae Adams, and Darren Waller. He has a good workhorse running back with Josh Jacobs. Their defense ain't the best, but it's a solid defense to win them a couple games. And I just believe they make that step to jump over Kansas City. The Chargers, I feel like they brought in older veterans that are declining in production, such as Khalil Mack. If you look at his stats, 2015 was his last multi-sack year. After that, he's been averaging 6, 7, 5 sacks a year. And then Denver, I think it's too early for them to be able to gel with the new offense, new pieces around Russell Wilson. So I have Oakland winning it this year and getting the number 2 seed.
All right. So you have the Raiders going. So right now we're looking at Buffalo. You pick Baltimore. I pick Cincinnati. You pick the Colts. I pick the Titans. I pick the Chiefs. You pick the Raiders. Dana picks Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, and the Colts. Now, wild card teams in the AFC South or the AFC.
So my 2 wild card teams.
Well, you get 3. You get
3 of them. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. I got the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
And I haven't even really thought about. Give me the Titans. Give me the Titans.
I'll let you stay on the show at this point. Okay. Dana picks the Chargers, Cincinnati, and New England. I pick. I'll probably go with the Raiders, Baltimore, and probably the Colts, because I think that if the Titans can pull it out, it will be by a game or 2 at the most, at the very most. So I think it'd be close. Now, I would not be surprised if you get 3 AFC West teams.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Now, out of all those teams that we just mentioned, Dana picks Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl. Who do you pick?
I a little bit before that, I got Buffalo and Baltimore in a close AFC championship game, but I got Buffalo just because they have a stronger defense and a better overall quarterback.
Okay. As much as I hate to say this, I picked Buffalo to go as well. Not that I hate to see I want to see Buffalo win a Super Bowl, but it's hard to go against my Titans. It just hurts me to say anybody but my Titans. But I just don't see anybody in the AFC overcoming Buffalo, especially if they have a home field advantage.
Oh, exactly. Buffalo's just too good of a team. It's their season to lose in the AFC.
Right now. Okay, so let's quickly, because like I said, I appreciate your time, Zach, for tonight. The NFC, let's go with the NFC. Let's go with the NFC East.
The NFC East, probably arguably one of the worst divisions in the NFC.
Either that or the overall or the South overall. One of those 2.
I would say the South overall. But in the NFC East, I have actually the Philadelphia Eagles winning it out.
You know, Dana picks the Cowboys to do it. I'm finding it hard to go against the Eagles.
The Eagles, I feel like Jalen Hurts is about to make that, show him that he is a starting quarterback. They picked up your boy, A.J. Brown.
That hurts. But I got him on my fantasy team, so I'm okay with it.
They got Devontae Smith, who's an excellent route runner, smart player. Their defense, they just picked up another piece. I can't remember the cat's name right now. And overall, I feel like they're just poised to win that weaker division.
Now, that being said, I don't see anybody making it to the playoffs by wild card. I think you'll have one NFC East team, and I see the Eagles doing it. But it would not surprise me that the Cowboys win that division. It wouldn't surprise me, but I see the Eagles doing it. All right. NFC North to me is a 1-horse race.
Who do you got?
I got the Packers, and so does Dana. Dana has them at the 1 seed.
Oh, I actually got this as a 2-horse race with the Vikings edging out the Packers.
Ah,
I feel like Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the weapons that he normally has. His number one receiver right now is Alan Lazard. He has his running back tandem. Their defense lost a key piece in Zadarius Smith, who went to the Vikings, and the Vikings just overall rehauled their offense to benefit their players and their styles better because Kirk Cousins best deep style thrower. So he's able to, it's more of like a read option pass system where if that first option ain't there, dump it off to a running back, which is possibly top 5 running back in the league at the moment.
well, okay. All right. So we have a little disagreement. That being said, could Minnesota, in my scenario, make it to the playoffs? Yes, I think they will be a wild card team. I think that it will come down to the fact that Detroit is moving up. Chicago is not going anywhere.
Oh, no.
Justin Fields is in a bad situation. I like him, and personally on my Madden team, I have him as my starting quarterback. I like him. Detroit is it's on an upward trajectory, but just you got to keep with the quarterback. You got to keep with the system. Don't change things up so much. But so you have Minnesota. I have Green Bay. Dana has Green Bay too. In the NFC South, probably it's a 2-horse race. Dana has the Saints. I think I have the Saints going as well.
I've been burnt by this before. I can never bet against that old man Brady. I've been burnt many of years, and I'm still going to stick with it. I feel like it's the Buccaneers division still to run. I don't trust Jameis quite yet.
Okay. So that being said, my second wild card team would probably be Tampa Bay. And that's what Dana has as his second wild card team is Tampa Bay. Now, the NFC West, to me, is the most interesting division in the NFL. You have 3 possible teams that can come out of it. And it's hard to go against the Super Bowl champion to win this. So you agree with me, the Rams?
So this is the one division because I did a little episode on this before. It's kind of a 3-way tie, but I can't go over what they did last year, and they brought back Aaron Donald, so I do have the Rams making out that West.
Rams, Dana picks the Rams to be the second team. I think they would be I think they will put up a good fight against Green Bay for the first seed overall. I don't know how much longer they could do that by trading their first and second round picks away, but man, I like to see Arizona do something this year, and they would be my last wild card team, Arizona.
So I believe actually the 49ers squeak it out over Arizona.
Okay. Now, if I were to take Minnesota out, I would put the 49ers in.
Yeah, that NFC wild card, it's very interchangeable because we don't know how, but my 3 wild cards are going to be Green Bay, the 49ers, and Arizona. 3 teams are going to come out the West.
Okay. Dana's is San Francisco, Tampa Bay, and Minnesota. If I had to make a decision today, I would drop Minnesota. I would put Tampa Bay, San Francisco, and Arizona. Now, I like Minnesota a lot, but man, Arizona is hard to go against.
The only reason I'm saying Arizona's a wild card and doesn't actually beat the Rams because on paper, Arizona looks a million times better than the Rams. They got a better defense personnel, offense personnel, and just a lot more explosive players. But Kyler Murray shows that he is inconsistent that second half of the year, and that's where you make your money at getting to the playoffs.
Well, he made some good money. Who do you pick to win out of the NFC?
I have the Rams going back.
Dana has Green Bay. If I had to make a decision, it would be hard to go against the Rams. So we have Buffalo. You have Buffalo and the Rams. I have Buffalo and the Rams, and Dana has Buffalo and Green Bay. Dana picks Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. I pick Buffalo if they go up against the Rams to beat the Rams. Who do you have?
So I know my co-host is going to love me, but I also do have Buffalo finally breaking that Super Bowl curse and winning it all this year.
All right, people in Buffalo, if you're hearing the sound of our voice, wide right will no longer apply to y'all.
Nope.
You deserve after what you have gone through. Now, that being said, I am the benefactor of the Music City Miracle, which was a legal play. By the way, it was a legal play. It has been studied. It was a legal play. I think that play started the downward spiral that only Josh Allen and everybody else has changed a little bit in the last couple of years. But so I do see Buffalo pulling this out and hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Now, like I said, this is a quick show, and I appreciate you being on, Zach. Who do you pick to win the MVP this year?
MVP, I think Josh Allen is going to carry that off.
Josh Allen will carry it off. Dana does not have a listing of who he picks. I would say that Derrick Henry pulls another 2,000 yard. No, I think Derrick Henry. I would love to see that. If he does it again, he better get the MVP. But I see Josh Allen doing it, not necessarily for his numbers overall, like his passing numbers, but his numbers on the ground, his numbers overall, the way the team is playing. I think Josh Allen has the best opportunity to win the playoffs, or excuse me, the MVP. Now, if things change and we want to come back and rethink this because somebody starts to light up the world, we have the opportunity to delete this particular one. It never happened. It never happened.
No, they got to know that we were completely wrong. Mid-season predictions after this.
Yes, it's mid-season. We're going to restate it about week 9 and make sure that we're getting things right. Now, Zach, again, tell us about your podcast and about what you're up to.
So, podcast, me, my co-host Jared, he's sadly not here. He's fallen ill. We've mostly talked about NFL, college football. We just dropped a video this afternoon, and the UFC we're big into mostly. And we just talk about our opinions, predictions, make a little banter back and forth, try to bring on guests from different walks of life who are interested in them types of sports.
And I'm looking at your man cave in the background, and I notice you got your on your right, my left, you have the 18-time national champion Roll Tide. But you have on the other side the Florida Gators, which kind of hurts me to look at.
It hurts me too, but that is my co-host Jared's.
All right, so explain the New York. Okay, my dog was giving me kisses. Explain the New York Giants and the only New York team, the Buffalo Bills, in the back there.
So this New York Giants helmet is actually signed by Michael Strahan.
Okay, that's acceptable. By the way, New York Giants fans, the NY on New York, the blue and the white, I love it. People say, well, we know that they're a New York team. They're actually a New Jersey team.
The New Jersey Giants.
When that came about, they were the New York Giants. They were playing in Yankee Stadium, if I remember correctly, where that started. Then they went to the Meadowlands soon after that, or a few years after that, I should say. I love the block NY, but one of my favorite helmets is the Lawrence Taylor Giants.
Oh my gosh, how
awesome is that?
Beautiful to say the least.
If you can go back to the old school Giants helmet that was worn, and I don't remember if Jeff Hostetler wore the Giants helmet. I can't remember that Super Bowl in particular, but the Giants, the block Giants, I love that. Now in the back though, you have the white Buffalo Bills. To me, when the Titans went from white to blue helmet, I love that to me, but that is clean.
Yeah, that is also because my co-host, and you being a Giants fan, a little known fact, because they used to be the Houston Oilers and all that. I've had a cousin who played on technically the Titans. If you ever heard of a name called Kenny Stabler?
Yeah.
That's my third cousin.
Well, there you go. See, Kenny Stabler, long story short, was Alabama grad, went to at the time they were the Oakland Raiders. And then I believe, did he go to the Houston Oilers and then the New Orleans Saints, or the New Orleans Saints and then the Houston Oilers?
Oilers, then Saints.
Okay. He was in I didn't know this, but I saw him in the Oiler blue, and I thought that doesn't look right on Kenny Stabler.
Oh no.
Now, Kenny Stabler, that's awesome that I'm talking to a relative to Kenny Stabler. Kenny Stabler to me was one of my favorite just bad boys of football who actually wasn't just considered a bad boy. He was a good player to great player, won games with his grit and his love of the game, and men wanted to follow him.
Oh, he's been to a couple of my Pee Wee games when I played down in Alabama and in Florida. Amazing guy. To be honest, I was so young, I didn't know. I was just like, "Oh, Dad, who's this?" He's like, "Oh, that's your third cousin, Kenny Stabler." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Nice to meet you," type thing.
He really, him and Joe Namath really brought out the hair game. There's a video of Kenny Stabler with two cheerleaders on his arm, one on each arm. I thought that's Kenny Stabler right there.
Oh, that's old Kenny.
That's old Kenny. Now, give me a prediction before we end, Zach. Who wins the NCAA this year?
I hate to sound like a homer, but roll, Tide, roll.
It's going to come down. It's a 2-horse race. It's going to come down to Georgia and Alabama again. It's going to come down with them again because have you seen the SEC East?
So a little fun fact, the SEC, besides LSU, thank God LSU is the one that messed up, but this record was 15-0 going into that Monday night game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were the only SEC team to lose.
That's LSU. Thank you, LSU. By the way, my former favorite team, the Vanderbilt Commodores, are now 2-0, and they could be 3-0. They play Wake Forest this weekend, and I was looking at their potential record this year. They could have a winning record for the first time in a long time.
You know what? I can't hate on Vanderbilt. It's one of them things like if you make fun of Vanderbilt and you're an SEC fan, what are you doing, man? Like, come on.
I'll tell you a story, Zach, and this is where we're going to finish. My son and my daughter were born in Tuscaloosa. My youngest was born in just down the road here in Tennessee, but they were born in Tuscaloosa. We lived in a place called Aliceville, Alabama for a few years. And I had to go for my job. I had to go to Tuscaloosa 3 days in a row. So I thought I was going to do a little trip, a little test. So day one that I went, I wore a University of Tennessee hat. People slammed doors in my face. They cut me off in traffic, and they were just rude. I said, all right. So the next day I wore a Vanderbilt Commodore hat. They didn't care anything about me.
No,
it wasn't a big deal to them. But then I wore an Alabama hat. People were opening doors for me. They were nice to me. Somebody said, "Oh, sir, you dropped something," and picked up what I dropped. And I thought, this is what it means to be an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. You know what matters in life.
Oh, so before we head out, I just got one story about also being an Alabama fan. So grew up in Mobile a little bit, and Alabama-Auburn, that's the rivalry down there. Well, we are my family exclusively is banned from a restaurant. I can't think of the name of it right now, and I don't want to say the name of it. But we are banned for life because the day before the Iron Bowl, we all went out to eat as a family thing. And one of my cousins threw a piece of corn at my grandma and said some profanities about Alabama. And it all busted open from there. So we're banned from that due to the Iron Bowl.
All I can say is, Zach, I respect that. If you cannot throw a piece of corn at your grandma for something about football, what are you doing?
Exactly. Are you really family at that point?
Are you really family? And if you can't just take that piece of corn and just know that they love their team more than they love you, I mean, what's the point?
What's the point, man?
All right. Thank you for coming on today, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Have yourself a good night.
You too.
That's good.
Thank you.
Hey, man, if you ever want to do another video.
I put up my
replica 1909 World Series program poster from Row 1 brand. And that's all it took for Marla to do a complete redesign of the Guardian offices, doing up the walls with tremendous prints from baseball, football, basketball, hockey, and more sports events. And every one of them can't help but trigger memories of sports yesteryear.
And here's the last one. Let's put it up here by your desk. Perfect.
Ah, that's a nice one. College football 1923, Navy versus Penn State. Do you remember that game, Marla?
I sure do. It was October 20th, 1923. Cloudy, but a reasonable 57 degrees at the 2:30 kickoff time. Over 20,000 turned out at Beaver Field in College Station, Pennsylvania for this clash of two of the nation's top teams. The Nittany Lions were the underdogs, despite having won their first 3 games by a combined score of 94-0. The heavy favorites were the Midshipmen, who went on to play in the Rose Bowl after the season.
Right, and the game immediately became...
The entire color of the game would ultimately be dominated by Penn State's star halfback Harry Wilson, but both offenses took some time to get going for a good 22 minutes before Wilson got the crowd to their feet with an interception of Bill McKee's forward pass, returning it all the way for his first touchdown of the day.
Wilson certainly was great
On the next kickoff, who would end up as returner but Harry Wilson? Wilson dodged at least a half dozen
Recall the
defenders
greatest
on a
moments in sports
77-yard
history,
stop
or just
to
your
the
own
end zone,
personal
being
favorites,
gone from
with
a
Row
scoreless
1
tug
brand
of war to a
sports
2-touchdown
paraphernalia.
blowout in
Don't
less than a
delay.
minute, with
Visit
hometown
today
fans ready to
at
count a fourth win for
sportshistorynetwork.com
PSU. The remainder of the second
/row1.
half
That's
resembled the first quarter. No one broke the opponent's
ROW
line, and 2
1
more McKee
today
passes
for
fell in
access
easy.
to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville, Mulligan.
When the gun
Sports
started
Strike,
to mark
coming
the
soon.
cast, the score remained Penn State 14, Navy 0. The second half had barely begun when Harry Wilson and Penn State went on to work on Navy again.